Hey, welcome back to episode 3 of What's Up, Casselbery. This is Drew.
We are, and this is Andy, but we are on quite the streak. We've made it to episode 3.
We are moving right along. That's right. Well, welcome, listeners. Hopefully those of you who have listened before are back. If you're brand new to us, we are a podcast located in Casselbery, Florida. We're 2 local pastors and 2 residents of Casselbery. And our podcast exists to be for Casselbery. That's the goal, is to share information and stories and hope for Casselbery, with stories being about Casselbery, and then, of course, by Casselbery. Not only Andy and myself, but also some great guests that we've got lined up. And we have a great guest lined up for you today, which we'll introduce in a few minutes.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be fascinating, insightful, and help us to get to know our Casselbery community. So, Drew, how are you doing? Have you had a good week?
I sure have. Yes, sir. I'm doing well. It is beautiful here. Although last night of this recording, we had a tornado warning and some severe winds, but all is well. Picked up some tree branches that had fallen in the yard, and everything's good. The dog still went out and peed this morning, so everything's good.
That's good. We got 2 tall pine trees in our backyard, so I really have a hard time sleeping when there's a tornado warning. So I was up a couple of times last night, but hopefully had some coffee and we're ready to go today.
We're Floridians, Andy. We're kind of used to, just several times a year. It's part of it. Yeah. Well, Andy, for our Casselbery in the News segment, this is a time where we just share about what's going on, whether it's a Google alert or something we see on Facebook, something that just strikes our fancy about what's going on in the news here locally in Casselbery. Andy, you had a very special, interesting thought to discuss with us.
Yeah, it was very interesting. You and I are members of the Chamber of Commerce, which is a great chamber here in Casselbery. And on the tables at that meeting last week were some postcards that spoke about a referendum that's coming up for our city soon. And I'm just looking at the website now, goparks2020.org. goparks2020.org.
And it's 2020, yeah.
Yeah. Because on the ballot that's coming up for the election on March 17, all of Casselbery residents are going to be asked to consider voting for a referendum that will raise some money to help enhance our local parks and develop a new activity park as well. So just looking at the website now, all the funds will benefit only the City of Casselbery facilities. There will be what's called a wheel park that it will develop, and then they will do some major renovations with the money if the vote passes, in Secret Lake Park, Lake Concord Park, Worlds Park, Dewdrop Park, and Sunnytown Park. Now, on this podcast, we do not want to be political at all, and this certainly falls into that bucket. And I would encourage folks to go and check out the website and find out about this referendum coming up, because it's really important that everybody's voice matters.
That's right. Being educated, knowing what it is you are voting for or against is something that we care very much about as being a citizen here in Casselbery, and just elevating what does it mean to be an involved and informed citizen here. We do have some beautiful parks, so it's very interesting that this is on the docket, and look forward to hearing what the results are and how people might engage with this particular topic. So again, the way in which to learn more information about the referendum for the vote on March 17th is the website www.goparks2020.org.
So 5 parks that would receive some renovations and a new one built. Drew, let me ask you, what's your favorite thing about these parks? I'm going to quiz you on your knowledge of Casselbery parks.
Sure. Well,
what's your favorite thing about Secret Lake Park?
Well, I think a parks comment in general is how neighborhood-oriented these parks are. Yeah. They're located, just nestled in. The word nestled comes to mind, where they're tucked in within neighborhoods. They're around typically a lot of water, existing water structures or pretty trees, developed trees, and they just really provide a nice, safe neighborhood friendly park. And so Secret Lake Park, for example, I personally love specifically 2 reasons. Number one, to fish. I've done some fishing there at Secret Lake. And also, I've had the privilege of partnering with you, Andy, and some other local churches and neighborhood leaders to serve our community with an Easter egg hunt and a fall festival event called Funtoberfest. And just to see all the people come out around the property was really beautiful.
Lake Concord Park?
Lake Concord, the food trucks. Yeah, second Friday of the month, food truck from around Greater Orlando, live music. It's just really pretty. Andy, I know you guys do like some events there, including Christmas tree lighting and Christmas Eve service.
Christmas Eve services, yeah. One of my favorite things about that park, though, is the art. And it's got a great little circuit to walk or jog around, and you get to see some art on the way. Wirtz Park. Do you know where Wirtz Park is?
Wirtz Park, I do. It's kind of tucked in just off of Redbug Lake Road.
I think it's called Mark David. It's the park with the
street
pool
called Mark David.
Have swimming lessons there and Little League baseball.
I have not spent a ton of time there, but I have ridden my bicycle from my house over to Wirtz Park. And there's a nice little trail that kind of loops around the outside. So if you walk or run or bike, it's really pretty back in there.
That's right. And there's often lots of wildlife to see as well. I remember seeing some rabbits back there too. Dewdrop Park, that's not too far away from you.
That's right. Right around the corner. We host a summer camp there at Dewdrop. We also my wife and I walk down there with our dog to fish, see some ducks and cranes and all kinds of things. Your dog fishes? My dog is terrified of the water. She would not go in the water. No.
And then the other one, which is probably the most unknown, Sunnytown.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you familiarized me with that.
Sure, that's tucked back there between Anchor Road and 1792. Kind of where the post office is. There's an industrial estate just kind of in that corridor. There's a walking trail there, and there's some soccer fields, and obviously the soccer fields are a big attraction to me as well.
Sure.
But be very interested to see what comes of this referendum, and we would encourage you to go and check out the website, and then we would certainly go and vote in an educated way on March 17th. I think for this section and this week, that's probably all we've got about news in Casselbery.
Beautiful. Thanks, Andy. And now would be a good time to take a break before we get to our guest for episode 3. Today's sponsor for the What's Up Casselbery podcast is Platinum Signs. Platinum Signs with Yesha Patel is located just behind the Target in Casselbery. Is that Anchor Road, Andy? Do I believe?
Yeah, so Target is on 1792, but yeah, the other road is Anchor Road, the other side of it.
Melody Lane is, as I'm pulling up the site, Platinum Signs.
Mr. Google Maps.
Here we go. Platinum Signs is on Melody Lane in Casselbery. Yesha Patel does a phenomenal job. If you have a business or if you have a sports team, any graphics you need done, car wraps, banners. My staff had our polos made by Platinum Signs. We had a step and repeat that sits behind us as we podcast. Just really, really great professional work. Platinum Signs also, in addition to having their Casselbery location, has a location off East Broadway in Oviedo. So check them out for any of your graphic needs. At this time, we're going to transition to a little musical interlude, and we'll be back with our next guest. Well, welcome back to What's Up Casselbery podcast, episode 3. Andy and I are here with our very special guest, who we're very excited to have here on the podcast today. We're not going to tell you her name at first. We're going to ask the kind of an opening question. Our theme for this episode is all about Casselbery Elementary School. Casselbery Elementary is near and dear, right, Andy, to you and I's heart and our special guests. So, Andy, why don't you share how did you originally hear about Casselbery Elementary? Well, maybe not hear about it, but how did you first get involved?
Sure. So my first involvement was when my daughter turned 5, and we were more than ready for her to be out of the house during the day. And so we said, what do we do? And we came across Casselbery Elementary. No, so Casselbery Elementary is where both my kids went to elementary school. I the principal at the time was a lady called Beth Ransom, and then she was replaced by Sharon Stanley. And then I think my son had 1 year with Mallory Lambert, the principal, there now. So my wife and I made a decision that we really wanted to be involved in our kids' lives, which is a good parenting decision to make. And part of that meant that we would get very involved in the school. So for a long time, I was involved in PTA and things like that. I think for a long time, I was the only dad on the team, which presented some interesting dynamics to me, but it was great. So there's the kid involvement with my kids, but the other side of my connection with Casselbery Elementary was through the food pantry that we helped start there a number of years ago. I don't know if you remember, there was a piece on 60 Minutes, the national news magazine show that highlighted the plight of hungry kids in Seminole County. And I remember watching that and thinking, oh my goodness, this is heartbreaking. These are people in our neighborhood who are going without. Then I found out that the school that they were recording that at was actually the school where my daughter went to. And so I really felt challenged and convicted to say, hey, this isn't a national problem. This is a local problem.
Right.
And we who live locally have got to address it. So I started to get involved in the school from that end as well. What about you, Drew?
Beautiful.
I know you're very involved.
Yeah, well said. And I think it'll tie into our guest in a minute. My wife and I moved to Casselbery. We had previously lived in a condo in Oviedo and felt called to move to Casselbery, to live, to serve Casselbery. And right about the time that we had moved in was the time where there was a transition in the care in regards to the food pantry that you mentioned. I had previously heard about the 60 Minutes interview, and my wife and I do not have children of our own yet, but we wanted to get involved, wanted to get plugged in, and so we kind of showed up. It was actually over the summer, right in the midst of questions regarding, hey, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to provide food and care for kids that are in need in Casselbery? And so we met some great folks right off the bat, including Miss Mallory Lambert, who was brand new at the time, her first year as the principal. And then shortly thereafter, got to know some of the members of the PTSA team. And in fact, our special guest today is from the PTSA here at Casselbery Elementary School. It's Miss Lindsay Feist. Lindsay, welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Lindsay, you have a long and really engaging story of your involvement in Casselbery, not only in your life, but now your children's as well. You want to maybe break it down for our listeners, kind of who you are and your tell us about your family.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Casselbery. I was born here, moved in 1983.
1983. Drew and I weren't even born then. That's not true. I was. When were you born, Drew?
I was not born. I was born 2 years later.
All right.
Sorry, Lindsay.
I feel a little bit better, but that's fine. That's fine.
Lindsay, I was 35 then.
So I've lived in Casselbery my whole life, aside from going off to college. I went to Florida State. Go Knowles.
Go Knowles.
And back here now, obviously. And I think, like you mentioned, my kids attend 2 of my 3, with my 3rd looking to start VPK next year. So,
wow, that's really cool. So you attended Casselbery Elementary.
Yep.
South Seminole?
South Seminole.
Okay.
And Lyman High School.
Okay,
Yep.
so you're right here, Casselbery.
Seminole County all the way.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, as we were thinking about just highlighting what the PTSA is doing, what is currently going on, I think it's appropriate that we give our listeners just a little bit of context. Andy mentioned the 60 Minutes and some of the things that have been going on in regards to the food pantry. But as you think about your time as a child there, now as a mom, and an involved PTSA member, what would you say are some of the things that maybe have changed in regards to the school?
Oh, well, 1983 was a long time ago.
Probably the
there's been a number of changes. In the in the school
there's one
system.
of us around this table who remembers 1983.
Yes, not I. But I think more importantly, a few things that have not changed at Casselbery since being a student there really is that just that feeling of family when you walk in. It's kind of corny to say, but it's it feels like everybody knows your name or wants to know your name when you get in there, and you really feel that they care for the students, and not just as students, as children, and they really go above and beyond, I think, to make everybody feel welcome and feel like a part of the family from the minute you get there.
That's really
Well, and sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
When they're always glad you came.
I've heard that somewhere before. Don't quote that show, or we might get in trouble, Andy.
I'm not sure you can really compare Cheers Bar to Casselbery Elementary School.
True.
I don't think that's fair.
No. One quick aside though, Lindsay, what you said about everybody knowing you and just the kind of the intimacy you hinted at of the school. When we bought our home, the folks that we bought the house from had 3 grown children that had raised their kids. Their kids had gone to Casselbery Elementary in South Seminole, just as you had. And they shared, literally as we walked outside, to see the sidewalk that you can walk from our home down to Casselbery Elementary. And I ride my bike very often down, along that sidewalk. And it really, that's the thing that overwhelms me as I engage with the school and see others, just how many from our neighborhood and surrounding area either walk to school, bike to school, to easy, quick commute. But it's very much, like you said, like a neighborhood
school. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love the family feel as well. So let me ask you a question. So you're a student there, and now you're a parent there. Are any of the teachers who were there when you were there as a student still there?
Coach Cohen was actually there when I was there. She was. Yep.
Really?
I think she may be the last one standing from my time. When Renee Porter, that worked in the school, was there. I think she retired just a year or 2 ago. But yeah, I know Coach Cohen was a teacher there when I was there.
How about that? She's great.
And she's still there. Yep.
Wow. She must have just been starting. She must have started as like a 14-year-old or something.
There you go. Yeah. She needed to hear that. and we mentioned on a previous episode, Miss Kimberly Young has, I guess, not been there quite as long as you have, but she's been there a very long time, right? Over 20 years, I believe. Yeah, that's pretty.
Well, I think it says something real positive, not just for the school, but for the community as well. When people can kind of make some deep roots and be there a long time. So, education is a topic that parents think long and hard about because it's a really important thing, and there are lots of options, education-wise now. Private schools, homeschooling. My family and I decided that we wanted to put our kids in Casselbery Elementary, but how would you encourage someone who's trying to figure out the best school for their kids? How would you advocate Casselbery Elementary in that?
I really, the school, Miss Lambert, now recently married, has really, really just jumped right in with both feet in developing our students and really drilling down into all of the data that we have now on our kids and how they're performing. And I mean, she's like the mad scientist when it comes to figuring out exactly where the kids need help and getting that help to them. So, as far as all of that goes, I mean, I just think I don't know how they do what they do, but it's magic, and they really are making gains across the board. I mean, I think we'll talk about school grades later, but I mean, the numbers are amazing.
Yeah, you walk into her office, she's got these charts everywhere, and she's an incredible advocate for our students as well.
Yeah, and just the accessibility of, you mentioned Miss Lambert and the other admin staff, that how available they are to speak. To anyone that comes in the doors, I think is a real testament to their style of leadership. Yeah. Really enjoyed it.
I think Seminole County's moved all new enrollment to online now, fully online. But I would say, I think our office has a wide open door policy to say, hey, I have some questions, and they're always available.
Yeah, I love that. I remember when my kids started, first week of school, we would get a pack of paper that was like 3 inches thick. And so the ability to do that online now, that just... that sounds great.
Yeah.
We're about saving the environment here in Seminole County.
Yeah, and time.
And time. That's right. So, Lindsay, as I mentioned at the top, you're our PTSA president. First off, what is PTSA? I feel like that's maybe a basic... We don't assume acronyms.
Yeah.
And just tell us about how you got involved.
So PTSA is a parent-teacher-student association. We are a 501c3 non-tax.
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit. That's the word I was going for. Nonprofit. And we operate alongside of the staff of the school. We're all volunteers. We are currently all parents, but anyone can join the PTSA board. Anyone can join as a member. Anyone can come to our general meetings and learn more about what we're doing within the school to support the staff and the students. I got involved because they put up a sign and they said, "We need your help." And I said, "Sure, how can I help?" And they said, "You'll be our secretary."
That was your first mistake.
Yep. So I served as secretary 2 years ago and vice president last year and president this year. So it's been a whirlwind, but you're a typical student only has 6 years in elementary school. So anything you do there is going to be kind of a whirlwind. Yeah. So it's been so rewarding and enjoyable.
Excellent. Tell us specifically a reward. Is there a story? Is there an individual? What's something why you would say this year, especially as the president?
This year,
what's made it rewarding for you?
This year we really doubled the size of our board. Over the summer, we sat down and we said, let's get intentional about what we're trying to do and how we're going to do it, and let's recruit an army, because it takes a village. A village. Right. It really does.
There we go.
It really does, and we have over 20 people serving on our board this year.
Wow.
So that's a big accomplishment, and I'm glad that none of them have abandoned me yet. So
we're calling them out on the air.
Well, my guess is you got a good involved team, because your good involved team have got a good involved leader. Yeah. That's kind of normally how it works.
That's right.
It takes a team. So
what have you got going on in the PTSA this year that you are excited about?
Well, we just wrapped up our biggest fundraiser of the year, which was wildly successful. The kids did a fun run at school, which was our first year with that. And we enjoyed that the kids didn't have to take books door to door and try to sell wrapping paper and cookies. And every child got to run in the fun run, regardless if they did not participate in the fundraiser itself. They all got to participate in the run, and I think they really had a good time doing so.
As a parent, I would say thank you. All the nickel and diming gets old real quickly.
Lot.
So the opportunity to support something like this is great.
Yeah, and fundraising is hopefully a small piece of what we do. It's a necessary piece to raise the funds to do what we do, but advocacy is a big thing for us this year. We sent over 600 decorated hands up to Tallahassee, and they were hung in the Capitol building for Legislative Week.
So what is a decorated hand? I'm assuming they're not like real hands.
We had our advocacy chair, Tammy, cut out over 600 paper hands, distributed them into the classroom, and the students all colored them up and turned them back in, and she strung them all together in 10-foot sections, and we mailed them off to Tallahassee for that. So we had that. We've got some glow dances coming up for the kids, which is a free event to bring our families together after school and give the kids a chance to have a good time together. We've done our fall festival that we do every year. We added a trunk or treat event this year, which was huge, way bigger than we anticipated, but it was a great, I think everybody really enjoyed that event. And
Lindsay, one of the things that I loved about the PTSA, when was it that Drew and I were organizing a little humanitarian
for the
Bahamas after they got hit with the hurricane, and we were just trying to gather some stuff from our churches, and I think you reached out and said, hey, we'd love to get the school involved, and so you rallied your parents and the kids and other connections and helped us take a few truckloads of stuff down to the Bahamas. And I love the heart of the PTSA.
Yeah, we really do try to give back as much as possible and teach the kids to give back, and I think that's a good life lesson, and we appreciate you guys organizing all that, because there's no way we could have got the, the stuff down there ourselves.
See, that's the great thing about community, right?
We do our part, you do your part, and it was a win-win. So, and I know we had several students spending money out of their own pockets to participate in that. So it's very special to, see the kids rise to the occasion for
those stories are so touching when you see kids making sacrifices to help someone else. That's incredible.
That's right. In fact, that's one of the funny stories we were talking about off the air, was how the three of us got together, maybe for the first time ever. Yes, we were celebrating that little guy. There was a special Casselbery Elementary student, I don't remember his name, but he donated towards the relief efforts in the Bahamas out of his own charitable giving. It was very sweet. And so we wanted to celebrate him and recognize the work, the impact that his donation made. And we all got together. We talked on the local
morning announcements
on the television in every classroom, and we were not really in sync, you could say.
No, I think it would probably be more accurate to say you were not in sync.
Yes.
With Lindsay and I.
Well, even a couple of minutes ago, y'all were saying go Knowles, I'm saying go Gators. So get that in there. That's right.
So one of the big changes that's happened in the school of the last 2 years, and this is really incredible, and I don't think we've celebrated this enough, that every year each school gets a grade. And for a number of years, despite some really kind of heroic efforts, the school had kind of been stuck on a C grade. But over the last 2 years, we've progressed, and now we're an A-grade school. And I've contended for a long time that when you have an A-grade school in a community, everything changes. And you've been a part of that transition from a C to an A. What's so exciting about that? What did that mean to you and the staff you work with and those kind of things?
Oh, well, it's really exciting. Predominantly, I mean, that's what people see when they don't know your school and they're looking and considering, do we send our student to that school? And, so much weight is put on that school grade. And so to have Casselbery finally receive the recognition that I think it's always deserved was very rewarding to see. And again, knowing how much work from all of our teachers and our support staff and our admin. And I mean, every adult on that campus is working extra, hours at night and trying to get there, and just getting it was, I mean, it gives me goosebumps. So.
Did you guys have quite a big party to celebrate?
We haven't yet.
What?
Well, we haven't. Maybe they did without me.
Maybe they didn't invite you.
They might not have invited me.
I hope they celebrated. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. It really is a big accomplishment, and something that we are still in the trenches of maintaining, because making it is one thing and maintaining it is another. So, PTSA has been fully on board with every initiative that admin comes up with to say, here's how we think, here's what we need, here's how we can get there, can you help us? And so we've been, all pushing in to get that, maintain
Love it.
I wonder I think about, as we get ready to wrap up here, I just even think about, your kids and their friends and all. Is there there's a certain sense in which when you're a part of something bigger than yourself, when you're part of something successful, if you play a team sport or do an activity, but to be an A school,
host a podcast,
to be an A school, there must just be a certain level of where every single child and teacher and professional, their dignity is raised.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a lot of pride that the kids, can hold their heads a little higher and say this, I go to an A school and I helped make that A, for our school. We did recognize our 4th and 5th grade students that did and say, hey, this is because of you and the work that you do and the things that you're doing. So it's definitely, makes you walk a little taller.
Yeah, Drew and I are on a D-rated podcast. We're hoping to get to an A rating sometime soon as well. Lindsay, we've got to wrap up. We could talk forever, but tell us how folks can get connected with the PTSA. Are there any needs that you have that community members could get involved in?
Absolutely. Our next general meeting is going to be February 20th. And like I said, it's open to the public. It'll be at Cimarron Skateway at 7 p.m. We also run a very active Facebook page, if you guys are on Facebook, and Instagram account as well. Our email, cbes, like Casselbery Elementary School, ptsa@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from the community and how we can better serve our school and our students anytime. So,
what's the Facebook page
Our
address?
Facebook page is Casselbery Elementary PTSA.
Okay.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
It's either Casselbery PTSA or Casselbery Elementary PTSA.
And it is very active. Yeah.
It is. We try to put full transparency in everything that we're doing up there so that people are looped in and aware.
I love that. That's really, really important. So if folks are interested, then go to the skate night too and have some fun as well. Do the adults get to skate?
They can skate.
I don't know if I could get the right liability insurance for me to skate. But that's great.
Doctor on standby.
Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us today on What's Up Casselbery. We appreciate all you do at the school, all that you do for our community, and we're very grateful that you are helping us move from a D-rated podcast.
Well, I wish you guys
to a C.
the best of luck with that, and I can't wait to hear the rest of your guest speakers. And thank you so much for having me on today and letting me talk a little bit about our awesome PTSA.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay, for that great interview. To wrap up this episode number 3, let's take a listener question. Andy and I like to hear from you. You can provide us with a question in multiple capacities. You could go to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, both called What's Up Casselbery, or go to your podcast provider, hit like, subscribe, and review. And in the review section, there's a place to make some comments. And so we'd love to have a question that you might have for us to share and discuss on the air. So Andy, today's question comes from a listener. And the question is this: besides this podcast, which I like that this podcast is a source for news and information, but besides the What's Up Casselbery podcast, what are some ways that if you were a resident in Casselbery that you can receive communication about what's happening in Casselbery?
Yeah, I think there are several options. The city puts together, I believe it's a quarterly newsletter/magazine. They have an online version and a printed version. If you go to their website, casselbery.org, you can sign up for that newsletter. Also, the city has some Facebook, Instagram, Twitter feeds, and I would encourage you to go to those. The website for the city is casselbery.org, which is very helpful and has lots of information. Unofficially, last week we had our guest, April Esler, who oversees happenings in Casselbery, where about 13,000?
13,000 on the Facebook.
Folks are in that group.
That's right.
And some of that page is very helpful as well. So there are numerous ways that you can stay connected.
Yeah, a couple of ways I would think are, number one, to attend the local events, particularly the second Friday of the month at Concord Park. There off 1792 near the Home Depot and City Hall is the food truck and live music event. At that event, there are a number of tents and tables of information about what's going on in Casselbery, and of course, interacting with many Casselbery residents to communicate word of mouth. Another great resource is Life magazine that does, is it called Life magazine? That does the...
Lake Mary Life.
Yes, Lake Mary Life. So Casselbery is included in kind of a regional quarterly magazine that comes out. And very often there are features, featurettes, highlights, calendar of what's going on in Casselbery specifically, as well as some other communities locally.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. If you have a question that isn't answered by those mediums, feel free to drop us a specific question, and we will do our best using our contacts and friends in the city to try and get you an answer.
That's right. Great question. We really appreciated that. Now for our closing segment, we always like to have just an inspirational quote for your week as you go out into the world this week. So our inspirational moment from Andy is a quote from someone that's near and dear to our hearts, a gentleman named C.S. Lewis. Andy, would you share our inspirational moment?
I kind of feel like we need some
week?
like little harp music playing as we offer this inspiration.
All right, James, we're going to work on that.
But this week's quote comes from C.S. Lewis. And he reminds us that no matter what we're going through, no matter where we are, no matter what obstacles are in the way, that there are far, far greater things ahead than anything that we leave behind. And I think we need to be optimistic about what's ahead, both in this life and all that God invites us to in the next as well. So as you go about your business today, remember, whatever's going on, whether they're tough, struggling, or whether they're great, there are even better things ahead.
Very well said. Beautiful. Agreed wholeheartedly. Well, we really hope you enjoyed today's conversation and our episode 3 of What's Up Casselbery, a casual conversation about our community. This podcast was produced by James Bittner. Our music was provided by local Casselbery musician Jeremy Birdsall. Graphics by local pastor Christian Moscosko. Our sponsor for today was Platinum Signs with Yesha Patel. For more information, please check out our Facebook page, our Instagram page, both called What's Up Casselbery. Go to our podcast, click the subscribe button, click like, review us, rate us, drop us a question. Until we see you next time, have a great week.
Take care. Bye-bye.